All right, welcome to another exciting episode of Westlaw Training. What we're going to do is we're going to do some cases in secondary sources research. So here's a case, Arthur Murray. You can also get to it not by typing in 105 NE second 685, but also by typing in Arthur Murray. In any case, whenever you type that down, it turns blue, ghosts it over, and then you're good. Now, if you're in a different jurisdiction besides Ohio, click on that to bring up the jurisdiction menu. It's going to bring up different cases first. Why? Because Arthur Murray is like a super common name, and in fact, there are cases in Maryland and California that talk about it too. That's why your probably best bet is the site. But in any case, when you do that, you click on it, you're in the case. We're in the case. So what do? First thing you do is you read the summary and the headnotes written by the West Attorney editors. These are not part of the opinion itself, right? Not part of the opinion itself. And the reason why you would read them is because they can help you understand what's going on in the case. Because sometimes the court is going to use terms like Smith and Jones instead of employee and employer. Wow, kind of confusing. And so this is going to give you, if you hit change view over here along this side, the issues that are discussed in this case. That's what all those key numbers are. And then the summary of how they actually came down. Click on any of these numbers, go to that portion of the case, click on them again, go back to the portion of the headnotes, yeah? So as you're reading the case, you find something that's super cool. You left click and you drag, you highlight that text, you'll be able to add notes. These are going to be really helpful because in a couple years when you're working on something, you have your mental impressions from way back when. Really helpful, yeah. A couple other things you can do, left click and drag, and then select the jurisdiction. Use that drop-down wedge. Blue book is called standard for reasons which we won't get into. But then if you hit Ohio and copy with reference, then you can obviously paste that into something that you're working on. Now, keep in mind that if you've got these star paginations in here, or if there's some weird formatting in the opinion itself, there's going to be weird formatting in your pasted clause. So give that a second look as well. Now, once you've read the case, read the headnotes, read that portion of the opinion, marked it up, copied it to put into your memo, it's important to see how Arthur Murray was distinguished by other cases. What other cases are those? Well, Zeppa. Westlaw will give you the worst treatment first, and you'll notice that there is some bad treatment because this negative treatment tab, you could actually click into it, and you'll see this yellow flag. That tells you that it's been distinguished, right? Red flag tells you it's been overruled. So when you left click on that, what does that mean? Well, you'll be able to see that, hey, a case in New Jersey has distinguished this holding, right? They said we're not going to follow it because either it's not the law in New Jersey or because we think the facts are more positive to a different rule of law. Same thing here with Zeppa. Click on that, see how that goes. If it was red, then it is no longer good for at least one point of law. What does that mean? Well, that means it depends on what your point of law is. So ghost over these headnotes if they're there on this right-hand side, or read the opinion, because if you're using Arthur Murray and it has a red flag for an idea that has not been overruled, like the sky is blue, well, then you can still use it even if it has that red flag. Just see what the cases say, you know, that have overruled it. And you'd be able to see whether it's distinguished or overruled here by this treatment thing, jurisdiction, the year, and then the headnotes, yeah? So here we are back in Arthur Murray again. Before we move on, something about advanced searching. There is a YouTube out there, if you just look for advanced searching on Westlaw, that shows you how to run these searches for cases in a lot more sophisticated manner. I'm not going to get into it right now because it's really cool. All right. Now on to citing references. If you look at this tab here in the middle, you'll see 500 some pieces of law on Westlaw that actually cite to Arthur Murray. And it's about a non-compete, right? And you're going to be able to winnow them down by using this filter menu along this left-hand side. So if you've got over 100 cases, you got these plus menus, you can winnow it down just like you're shopping online. You've done this before, right? Within Ohio, there's all these different districts. So just clicking on those is going to bring that down quite a bit. But what we're going to talk about next are secondary sources, right? These are not authored by the court. They're authored by professors, commentators, professionals in practice to help you find things that are helpful for the issues that you're looking at. And probably the most awesome secondary source that's out there for a memo or a brief is the ALR, because these collect all of the different cases on the different issues that you're looking at. So again, Arthur Murray's about a non-compete, and this is a quiz question. Quiz question. All right, which of these following things is not an ALR? So I'm going to give you a list of things. You're going to have a look at this, so take a screen cap of it or pause it, take a look at that quiz, and figure out which of these is not in the list that I will give you. So we talk about validity of it. We've got somebody that is entering employment of customers, clients, or patrons. And then we've got, of course, duration, which is time. territorial extent, which is area. So you can see how if my memo is actually about the area, it would be helpful to know how that issue has been interpreted by courts for all of these different types of professions, and specifically the profession that I care about, right? Because Arthur Murray is about dance, and dance teachers go all over everywhere in a way perhaps that a nurse or a welcome wagon hostess, whatever that profession is, does not. So you could click on any of these and you could go to cases that actually talk about that issue. Go sit over, find the headnotes once the document finishes loading, because it's enormous, 600 some pages, so that way you can find things that are helpful to you there. Now, one thing that's interesting though is that if there aren't cases in Ohio or in the jurisdiction that you care about, how do you get to them? How do you get to them? That's time for the last portion of our talk today, which is key numbers. Here we are inside a case, here we are inside a case in Iowa, which I will get to in just a second, diversified fastening systems. And in this case, we need to go from a 91 case in Iowa to something maybe more recent and in Ohio that we actually care about. That's where these key numbers come in. You'll remember I asked you to push them into change view. Make sure you do that if you're not following along now, because these key numbers will give you all of the cases that have been reported under the subject of injunction or under something very specific. It's like how it's hashtag can be super vague, like hashtag blessed, right? And then you add more information and then you're like hashtag blah, 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 blah. And then the longer it is, see right around here, the more precise your issue is. So for instance, where a court is talking about under Iowa law, that's nice, but what about Ohio law, right? So that's why if we click on this key number that talks about restrictions unlimited as to place and time, this is a quiz question, we will have some results in the 8th Circuit, which governs Iowa at the federal level. If you hit the change button though, uncheck 8th Circuit, go to Ohio, now you get relevant cases in your jurisdiction. And that connects you from a case 100 years ago in a place where we don't care about to something way more recent in the jurisdiction that we care about. So this is the answer to the second quiz, question 5. So you can see here, we've got relevant cases in the jurisdiction that we care about. And how is that? By clicking on these key numbers, either at a really specific level or a really general level, and then clicking on change to go to the jurisdiction. And if that 5 was too much, you can run a search within results, type in some facts that you're working on and whatnot, and wow, that has suddenly become winnowed down way even more. Last question is course codes. Once you get out there into the real world, you'll have to take things called CLEs. These are continuing ed classes, and guess what? They're going to give you activity codes at the end of the program to verify that you were there. So the activity code for today is swing out, that word over there, swing out. The reason that I'm also showing you this is because you can follow me on Twitter at LindyHopLawyer. I will post recap videos of tasks that people are telling me to do. Hey, I want to find advanced searching. I've got questions about commercial law. Guess what? You can let me know and we can walk through it either in a live webcast one-on-one or we can record something so that everybody can see it. It doesn't matter to me, but if it matters to you, drop me a line. You'll be able to see all this cool stuff. So how do you get your credit? Now, there is a quiz with the 3 questions, like what is the course code? Which ALR was not in that citing references, and how many cases are in that Ohio key number when we went and we made that jurisdictional switch. How do you get to that? Well, you type this in, goo.gl/KSF4, the letter O, and then D. So go into your browser with me here. That's O, like capital O, not 0. And when you do that, you're going to be here at the quiz. Again, get that course code that we talked about a second ago. Check that list of ALRs and go find me one where you don't have that info, right? This isn't in the citing references. Then use the key numbers and then type your name below, certify that you've completed it according to the academic integrity policy, get credit and submit. All right, one last thing. Reference attorneys down here at the bottom, 1-800-REFATTY, hit contact us, pull up their email, send them an email, live chat them. Or get a hold of me. Again, I'm at samuel.burbano@tr.com or Twitter at LindyHopLawyer if you want to see some more recap videos about cool stuff. Thanks for listening. We look forward to talking with you all again soon. Thanks.